everyone. Hope I all meet you all well. How are you all doing? And welcome you all to this evening skills, which you all know the reason why we are here. And our today's session will be graphic design. So there are some things I need to share with you people, and I hope you all understand it better. So as a graphic designer, before you can ever start off, ever think of starting designing at all, there are some things you need to put in mind at the back of your mind. There are some rules you need to follow, things you need to understand very well. You can't just pick up your device and say you want to start designing without even knowing the concept of what you want to design about. So you need to table it down, structure what you want to do, and which are the ways you can achieve this are the basic principles of graphic design. You need to understand all these principles before you can even think of designing. There are lots to design, there are lots to graphic design, so you need to understand steps to take, things you need to do before you can even think of gathering all what you want to pass out, your information, and the picture you're going to use, everything. I'll be explaining everything in this video. So number one thing you need to note first is balance. Your work needs to balance. You need to balance up your design. Everything you need to place there needs to be very balanced. You just don't say that okay, you place one object, one will be facing north, another one will be facing south. You need to balance up your work. You need to balance your work okay, let me explain better. Balance gives a design its forms and stability. The human eye is always seeking order and stability in images. It's the psychological reason behind why we are attracted to symmetrical faces and objects, and we can promote a sense of balance and stability, helping to relax the eyes and make the image feel more appealing. So when you're designing, when you're placing your elements, your shapes, or your pictures or anything, you need to understand how you're going to balance it up. You can't just place your bodies or your images anyhow. You need to make everything balanced. And what is the examples of balance? I know you'll be wondering that, okay, how did I want to balance my work? You can even see the image on your screen. You can see that everything balanced, starting from the one balance, all the wordings, everything. You can see how appropriately I arranged everything. Everything was sitting appropriately. Not that one is bending, another one is facing somewhere, another one is facing north. So things like that you need to understand. You need to balance up your work. You need to make sure your design is readable and is more appealing to the eyes. There are some designs that when you even see it, you won't even bother checking it twice before you swipe to another page. So in such cases, you won't want your design to be that way. So that's the reason why you need to focus on your balance. As in, you need to focus more on your design when you're designing your flyers or posters or whatever you want to design. You need to make it balance. And what is the example of balance? The examples of balance is, you can see the objects, the triangles. I have two pictures here to explain this. You can see the object placing at this thing. You see that everything is balanced, not that one is going up, another one is coming down. So what I'm trying to explain here is that, assuming you want to place a shape, or you want to place your fonts, your wordings, you need to make everything as in accurately. Not that one will be shifted right, another one will be shifted left. Everything needs to balance. When you look at this image, you can see the triangle. This triangle, you don't see it as one coming down, another one going up. Both triangles were aligned and seated appropriately. So same thing needs to happen to your design as well. You need to make sure the picture, your shape, your wordings you're putting on your flyers needs to be very balanced. Not that everything will be scattered anyhow. No. So second one is alignment. What do we understand by alignment? Alignment is one of the most important aspects in graphic design principles. It helps ensure a sharp, ordered appearance for ultimately better design by ensuring your various elements of design have a pleasing connection with each other. I'll still going to show you example of alignment. Okay, look at this alignment now. Look at how I arranged everything. Everything is placed accordingly. You can see the wordings are followed accordingly. Not that one is moving forward than another one. I'm just using this as an explanation. I'm still going to show you the example. We all know the meaning of alignment. You can go to Google and search more about it. It's not a big grammar that anybody cannot understand. So when you're designing, you need to make your wordings aligned appropriately. If you want your wordings to be centralized, let it be centralized. If you want it to be at the left hand side, let it be at the left hand side. And if you want it to be at the right hand side, let it be at the right hand side. Not that one will be left, another one will be right. No, designing doesn't come that way. If you want to place your object or your pictures at the left side, let it be. And your wording should be at the right hand side, let it be. Not that you scatter everything. Imagine you putting your alignment and your image up and your wordings right and everything, you just place everything scattered. It won't interpret, as in your viewers won't get what you're trying to pass out to them. You won't able to deliver that message to them. And that's the most important thing about graphic design. If you're unable to deliver what you are trying, if you are unable to deliver the message you are trying to pass out to your audience, it won't make any sense. Your design will be scrapped, as in it will be effortless and it won't make any sense. Imagine you designing for hours and it don't, as in your viewers doesn't even understand a bit of what you are trying to explain to them. So that's part of the principles you need to understand. So what are the examples of these alignments? You see an example. One, you can see that I have like four sections here, which the first one is center alignment. When you zoom the video very well, you understand what I'm trying to say. We have center alignment, we have left, and we have right. We have the other one as well. So justified alignments. So you need to understand all these things. You need to take notes. And I can sometimes when I go on social media, I will see some flyers, some posters. I will just like, why this person just wasting his or her time? Everything on that flyer or poster is not delivering the message the person is trying to pass out to us, because of what all the wordings and everything is not well aligned. And it's as in a slight mistake in graphic design will spoil everything. So we need to be very careful when designing. You need to be very, very careful, as in extra careful. And you yourself, you need to understand what you're doing. So the second aspect is hierarchy. Hierarchy. What do we understand by hierarchy? You use hierarchy to focus your design, as in, assuming you see a flyer now. You see a flyer, and the first thing you will be imagining is that, what's this person trying to tell me? What's this person trying to lure me about? As in, what is he inviting me to understand? As in, what did this person want me to buy from him or her? What exactly this person is advertising to me? So when you say an advertisement, the first thing that grabs your attention, it is what is called hierarchy. The first thing, I know sometimes you may think is image. Okay, when you see an image and a flyer, rather, when you see a flyer and you just see someone smiling, opening his or her teeth, but you don't know what the person is smiling for. So it's the hierarchy that will tell you the real meaning of that smiling. The real meaning of the smile, as in what is behind that smile. It is called hierarchy. And what is this thing? Okay, look at this flyer you're looking at, these scripts you're looking at now. Immediately you get here, you just saw hierarchy. What was the first thing that attracts your eyes? Is the spelling of hierarchy, the boldness of the hierarchy. That was what first grabbed your attention. Before you even think of reading what is under the hierarchy, the first thing that will grab your attention is this bold hierarchy. I know you won't understand what I'm trying to explain yet, but I'll still explain for that. So the first thing that grabs your attention on a graphic or design is hierarchy. So you can see an example here. Look at these two pictures you are seeing on the screen. I know immediately you see the picture, the first thing you saw was graphic design. So when you see graphic design, what is all about graphic design? What do you want to do with the graphic design? What do you want me to get from the graphic design? It is now later you will see learn graphic design fundamentals. So the first thing that grabs your attention, that is what is called hierarchy. As you need your headline, your title. Your headline, your title. That is first things that is going to grab someone's attention, your viewers, your audience. That is what is going to grab their attention. That, okay, what is this flyer all about? What is this flyer telling me? What is it advertising to me? I'm just seeing a picture. Okay, look at the second picture. You can see a lady smiling. What is this lady smiling for? What is it trying to tell me? So the first thing you should notice on that picture is social media manager, special offer. I know the first thing you ever see is the special offer, which is that's what grabs your attention. Special offer for what? What is this person trying to offer me? So that is when you will now have the ability to read further that, okay, special offer. Wow, this person is advertising or giving out a special offer of what? And then you have the sense of reading further. So the first thing that grabs your attention, it is what is called hierarchy, which is your heading or your subheading. So that's all about hierarchy. So you need to understand this too. Whenever you are designing, always make sure that your what you are trying to tell your audience is bold enough for them to see. Not that you okay, imagine you saw a flyer and the person is trying to invite you for a webinar or a seminar, and the person is just writing it in a small word and putting a big picture. Please, like, what's this person trying to tell me? I don't even understand. That's when you start zooming the picture before you can even see what the person is saying. But now imagine that person enlarge, as in puts what is trying to tell out, what is trying to pass out to the audience in a bold form. That was the first thing ever people will ever notice. Your headline, that's the first thing people will ever notice before even reading your flyer or your poster or whatever you are trying to pass out to them. Your headline really matters, which is your hierarchy. You need to place it right. You need to make it bold. Pass out your message boldly. Pass out your message boldly. Not like you'll be writing like as if a chicken is right. No. Or you design like a chicken. So that's how hierarchy works in graphic design. So the next one should be your contrast. Contrast. What do we understand by contrast? Contrast is also an important design principle because it lets you draw out the most important elements of a design and add emphasis. Contrast happens when two design elements are in opposition to each other, like black and white, thick and thin, modern and traditional, etc. etc. High contrast can help you guide the viewer's eyes to the most important part of your design first. So what I'm trying to explain here is that when you're designing, you need to take note of your textures, your usage of colors. I'm still going to colors, but I need to say this. When you're designing, you need to take control of your textures, your usage of colors. Like, assuming that when look at the message I'm trying to pass to you now, you can see how bold all my words are, readable and understandable. It is easy to the eyes to see. Not that you'll be tinting your eyes before you will be able to read whatever you want to read. It is clear. So assuming that my background here is black, and my font here is red, as in my the color of my wordings is red and the background is black, please tell me, will you be able to understand? As in, you even reading the wordings, it will piss you off. You won't even want to read it. The reason why is because it's not eligible, as in it's not readable, it's not easy to the eyes. You need to strain your eyes before you can see it. So that's the meaning of contrast. So you need to understand the usage of contrast too. Your textures, your background color, the usage of your colors. You need to understand how you're going to select that. So you need both bright and as in, you need bright colors to express yourself. There are some ways to use it, but as we continue to design, as we continue with the class, you will understand better what I'm trying to say. So examples of these constructs. Look at this image now. The first thing that will grab your attention here is the lady holding a phone, and the reason why is because she is the one that brightens the image, the design. She is the one that brightens the design. You can see the background that is black. So assuming that the lady used in this poster is also wearing black, and she herself is also a black lady, and the fonts, as in the word used, is also used as black. Please, will you be able to read anything? No, you won't even see anything. You won't see anything at all. So, but see now that she's wearing white and the font used is white, but the background is black. You can see how white comes out from black. So I hope you're understanding this. So look at the second image as well, which is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, before you can even see the bottle, the first thing you see is the Coca-Cola, which is the white color, then the background. So assuming the background of that Coca-Cola is black and the Coca-Cola spelling too is also black, you can imagine what will happen. You won't, as in, it won't be easy to the eyes. You won't even see anything. It won't be readable. You won't even notice that there's any words written there. You won't even know maybe there's any image placed there. Or let me even use another color. Let me do this black and white. Let's say, okay, what color can I use again? Maybe we should use yellow. Let's use yellow. I use yellow as my background color. Then I decide to use another complementary color with yellow. As in, let me put it this way so you understand better. Assuming I'm using a background color, then I decided to use a violent color again to write my wordings. Will you be able to read it? No. So there are ways to comprehend colors together, which will allow the contrast to interpret whatever you're trying to pass out. So your image, your object, whatever, you need to know the kind of textures, colors to apprehend it, to complement it rather, colors to complement it, and the kind of colors to use for your fonts. All these things are things you need to study very, very well. So you can still search more. You can read more on this. So the other one is repetition. What do we understand by repetition? Repetition means repeating of colors, fonts, shapes, words, and can help your design and overall look together. It also helps people remember your brand or other important information. Employ repetition in your overall content strategy by using consistent color, fonts, and brand imagery to help people recognize your brand. There's repetition. Repetition means when you're designing, you just don't use shapes anyhow. Like, okay, you're trying to design a poster or a flyer. Then in said flyer, we have triangle, we have square, we have rectangle, we have octangle, like 4 or 6 shapes in one flyer. It doesn't make sense that way. If you decide to use square, make sure it's that square you repeat until you finish your design. You can mix it up, but there are ways to do it. You just don't jam pack, as in combine a lot of shapes together. It won't transform anything. It won't even it won't give out that message you passing out. The information you need to give out to people, it won't give it. If you are to use fonts, make sure your usage of fonts shouldn't be more than 1 or 2. I'm still going to share ways how to compare fonts to each other, how you're going to use two or more than 2 fonts together, how you're going to make use of fonts appropriately. And if you are to use an image as well, know how you're going to place your image. Not that in one design you have like 10 or 16 images in one design. No, we have to design. Even though it's a example of something I'm trying to explain now. Assuming you are trying to design a church flyer, we all know that church flyers, sometimes we do have more than 1 or 2 or 3 pictures in it, but there are ways you can do it that it will be moderate and sensible. Not that you just pack all the members of the church and put them in one flyer. No. So repetition means like using one shape twice or 3 times. Is it that you use line, is it that you use shapes, or you use pictures, use fonts? So there are ways you can do that. So there are ways to it. So, and the example of this is, you can see the first design here. You can see the green shape and the pink shape, and you can see that I only used 2 colors here. I only used 2 colors in that design, which is green and pink. So it's not that maybe I use green, pink, yellow, purple, red. No, that's not repetition. That's nonsense. So it is when if you are really repeating things, you need to make it moderate and appropriately. Not that you just be mixing up things and you think you are doing the right thing. No. So the second one, you can see the second pictures too. The second pictures here, if you zoom this picture very well, you will notice that the font used here is no more than 2. We have one bold font and the other fancy font, and these 2 fonts are used throughout the design. The bold fonts are used for the hierarchy aspect, which the person wants you to understand. The main reason of that flyer, which is the hierarchy. So that's the bold fonts used there, and the fancy one is just to spice it up, the design, to make it look more attractive and more funnable. And you can see as well that the shape used there is just only one shape, but used in a different way. So that's about repetition. So, and the next aspect is color and space. There is one thing about usage of color, and I've always been seeing those mistakes in some maybe newbies or early designers. Let me call them as newbies. When they are designing, they think they can just use the color anyhow. No, there are rules to color usage, and we have categories of colors. We have types of colors. We have categories. I'm still going to go deep about colors, but that won't be in this video. That will be in another video, because I don't want this video to be too long. So I'm just trying to explain things you need to understand better, and that's why I'm taking my time to explain this. Now, usage of color, there are rules to it, and I'm still going to share ways we can use color palettes, as in color codes. There are ways to get color codes. I'm going to share all those to you guys. So usage of color, there are ways to it, because color does a lot in design. Color interprets a lot in design. Choosing the right color can help define the tone of the design. Designers can choose from a wide range of colors combination for the background and text of the layout. Color is an important design basic, and it dictates the overall mood of a design. Yes, it dictates the overall mood of the design, because first thing your viewer will see is the color. Apart from the headline, your title, your picture, your font, the first thing that grabs your viewer's attention is your color usage. When you use an awkward color, it won't be pleasing to the eyes at all. Nobody will even want to check the graphics. Nobody will want to check the flyer. Nobody will want to check your poster. Nobody will want to check what the information is all about. The reason why is because you've already chased them away with the color usage. There are some colors that you can't combine them together. No. So that's the reason why we have color theory. You need to understand color theory as well. You can't just use color, say that you want to use primary colors with tertiary colors, or you want to use secondary colors with even though there are ways, you need to understand usage of color. Yes, you need to really understand it, because some people will just use, imagine someone using red and green. Does that really appeal, as it does it really make a sensible picture to anybody? You using green and red. Okay, assuming you now as a fashionista, you want to go out, then your head cap is red, and you're putting on a green trouser, and you're putting on a purple t-shirt, and you're carrying a yellow bag. How will you look like? You look like a clown. So that's one thing about color usage. You need to be careful when choosing your color. Which color and contrast work together? If you can remember when I was talking about contrast, I make mention of, you need to take note of your background textures, your selecting of background and your textures, your font colors and every other things, because all those things needs to come out, as it needs to show up and comes out in a bright way. You need to make your design lively. You need to make your design enjoyable, as in let your viewer enjoy what they are seeing. Let them fall in love with your design. So that's the happiness of a good graphic designer. But when you design and your viewer sees your poster or whatever, and they is like, what's this? It doesn't give any happiness. But the happiness there is that you should design and you should receive a kudos that, wow, you've done a great job. So that's the main happiness there. So when you understand your colors, and you need to understand your usage of space as well. And space here, when you're talking about space in graphic design, space really matters a lot. Reason why is like, you can't just jam pack everything together at one spot. You need to let your design breathe. Let it breathe. Give it space. Let people understand what you're passing out. Give it space. If your image is going to be left, let it be left. If your words is going to be right, let it be right. And if you want to centralize everything, let it be centralized and spaced out everything. Don't just combine everything at one spot. Don't just jam pack everything. Don't just jam pack everything. You need to let your design breathe. Give it space. Give your wording space. Give your image space. Give your shapes. Give them space. Let them breathe. So that's all about space. You need to let your design breathe. So examples of colors usage here. You can see we have different kinds of color here, but I'm just showing this another example. I'm still going to go deeply about how to use colors and the categories of colors we have, types of colors, the meaning of colors, what colors interpret to your audience. The main thing, when you want to design, you need to sit down and think about what you want to pass out, the information. Okay, assuming you are a makeup artist now. As a makeup artist, you need to look for a friendly and girlish color. Okay, as a makeup artist now, it's not possible for you to go and be using blue and be advertising. It won't interpret anything to your viewers. Reason why is because blue has its own meaning, pink has its own meaning, yellow has its own meaning. All these colors you see, they have meanings, and they have ways they represent your brand. So you can't just use color anyhow. You need to understand the meaning of what you want to design before you can know the kind of color you want to use. So that's one thing about colors. You need to understand the meaning. You can go on Google, search for them, search for color meanings. You will see a lot of meanings and interpretations there. So the last but not the least here, we have typography and font. Typography, which has your wordings, your usage of font. Typography, you need to allow your word breathe as well. You need to make it breathe as well. You need it to be readable, as in readability. You need to make your words be readable, bold enough for your audience to read. Not that when you design, your audience will still be straining their eyes before they can even see what you are writing. And you need to write your wordings correctly. Whenever you design, always make sure you recheck your design to see if any errors are there, any typographic errors are there. And last but not the least, you need to understand usage of fonts as well. Usage of fonts is very, 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 very important. There are ways you need to use fonts. Imagine you're designing a flyer for your business owner, like a professional business owner or commercial, or like office, let me say a company. You are designing a flyer for a company. You can't just use any kind of font, because you need to be professional. You need to be official. So there are ways you can use fonts in such aspect. But if you are designing for a party or a club or any hangouts, there are fonts you can use for that. Because you can imagine what I'm trying to explain here. Imagine you using a fancy font for someone that is trying to advertise his company out there. People will be like, is this person joking? But when you use a professional font, then they will understand that, okay, this is official. And it's not possible for you to go and use official fonts for a night party. They'll be like, what did they want to go and do in this party? Do we want to go and listen to someone or no? That's why I said your design speaks a lot about what you're passing out. So that's the reason why you need to sit down, think before you design. And there are ways to get inspiration before you start designing. You don't just start designing from your head. As a beginner, you can't just start designing from your head. You need to start from somewhere before you get perfect. You need to start from somewhere before you get perfect. So examples of fonts here, you can see we have different types of fonts. We have the bold, we have the fancy, we have the extra bold. I'm still going to share some parts of ways you can get fonts, how to download fonts, how to make use of it. Alongside, when we continue practicing, you get used to what I've explained in this video. So I will appreciate if you listen to this video very well. It's if possible, you can keep the video and listen to it at your own convenience time. Thank you so much for listening.